So, for the past year, I've been making these WINX Club ball jointed dolls, and there is one request I've been getting from the very beginning: ENCHANTIX. Well, today's the day. Same as in the show, Aisha will be the first one to receive her ENCHANTIX, and I've already prepared this new head sculpt for her, so let's get the base doll printed. Once the pieces are washed and cured, there are often these holes from air bubbles, so I just take a bit of resin, dot it on there, and cure that under a UV lamp. I do that on a few pieces and then give everything a thorough sanding. When everything is sanded and sprayed with matte sealant, I can start inserting all the magnets and also suede the joints. Here you basically just add a thin layer of hot glue to the concave parts of the joints to give them a bit of a better grip to hold poses better. Now I can just string those parts all together as per usual. And here's the finished base. I'll get started on the wig with this wine red jumbo braid as well as a light pink and orange. I first mixed the lighter shades to create something similar to what she had on the show, and then just straighten out the crimp texture. I use that straightened hair to start making wefts with Mod Podge. Once those have dried, I start preparing her parting line by taking this piece of cardboard wrapped in tape as well as a piece of mesh fabric. I pin the fabric to the cardboard piece and add Mod Podge. And then I just spread that with my fingers. Then I mark how long I need the parting to be and glue down a first layer and then a second on top of that. I do that on both sides. After a bit of drying, I split the hair down the middle and take a small strand from the right side and move it over to the left, and then take a strand from the left and move it over to the right, and I just repeat that many times until I'm left with this thatched parting. At this point, I can remove it from the cardboard and trim the excess fabric. Then I give this printed wig cap a quick paint job and start gluing down wefts in the back. And on the sides. Then I cover the front of the cap with short pieces of glue saturated hair and trim around the edges. I clean up some of the glue residue with a Q-tip dipped in acetone. Then I can take the prepared parting and lay that down. Afterwards, I take off the cap and use folded over wefts to cover the edge of the front hairline. Once back on the head, I pull up the hair into pigtails. Since they look pretty droopy like this, I'm gonna shape them by tying pieces of straws underneath and boil washing that. While that's drying, I take these prepared twists from the lighter hair and glue that to the inside of the cap. Then I can remove the straws, and after retying the pigtails, they look a lot more clean and well shapen. After that, I tie the twists at the back of her head and merge them all. I also glue in her little side tendrils. Then I section off some pieces and basically just curl all of her hair with a mini curling iron. And after adding a row of beads to the hair ties, the wig is done. This was probably one of the most difficult wigs I've made, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Now let's get going on the wings. I've already prepared this vector file and just sent that over to my Cricut to cut out all the layers. After everything is cut, I weed out all the vinyls. And then use transfer tape to first lay down the darker green base. Then the light pink translucent vinyl. And some hot pink detailing. Then I take this lime green glitter vinyl and layer that onto the base green. Then I also add light pink dots to the tips. And that's the front done. So I turn everything around and add some transparent blue vinyl to the back to make these parts appear purple in the front. And some more pink to intensify certain parts. And then I just cut them out. I actually had to make 2 pairs because the first one was way too big and looked crazy. To add some more texture, I take some UV resin and dot on some domes to the light pink circles. Of course, I do that all over. I still need to make those dangly bits on her wings, for which I take some ribbon, brownish beads, and a big blue bead. I cut the ribbon at an angle and heat seal it, so I can feed it through the brown bead first, then the blue. Then I heat seal the other side of the ribbon and sew on some string. Then I push the beads over the part of connection and add another brown bead on top. Then I cut the ribbon short on the end and heat seal it again. Once I've got 2 of those, I rough up the wings a bit at the tips and attach them with a bit more UV resin. Then I take one of my wing adapters. To connect them, I punch 2 holes at the base of the wings, which I do with a perforator. While trying to navigate the wings into the right position for the second hole, I forgot one important thing. Perforators make 2 holes. Yeah. So obviously this was pretty frustrating, especially because I didn't have the materials or the time to make another pair. So I had to figure out how to fix this, which I did by taping over the front and filling up the hole from the back with resin. And then using some opaque vinyl this time to make sure the hole is covered from the front. And then I layer the blue transparent vinyl on top. You can still see it a bit in the back, but that's none of my business. So I just connect the wings to the base with more resin. And they're done. It's a bit unfortunate to have lost the transparency on the purple parts, but I still think they look good. So let's move over to the face, which I start as always by filling in the lashes with some black paint. And cleaning them up with an X-Acto knife. After that, I can start outlining the irises and pupils. And sketching in her brows. Then I use some white pastels on the lips and eyelids to create a base for the colors that are going to go on top to show up more vibrantly. I also blush the cheeks, nose, and forehead lightly. Afterwards, I start filling in her scleras with white paint. And then use some blue to fill in her irises. I also use some darker paint to outline them. And then dip some color onto her teardrops that I had sculpted on the face already. Then I just continue to add highlights in the irises and outlining the eye shape. I also slightly darkened the nostrils. Then I start painting in the pupils and eyebrows. And add some light streaks on the irises, as well as a halo at the bottom. Using pastels, I add a shimmery pink lip color and a yellow eyeshadow. And then use a whole lot of micro glitter all over the face. Then I add some more highlights on the eyelids and line the lip crease. I also use a bit of white paint to show some of her teeth, and I outline that as well. Then I add a few lip highlights and soften them with a small cotton swab. To finish the eyes, I add circular highlights at the top right and then small dots at the bottom left. Now I just layer some shimmery paint on the eyeshadow and lips. And after a final glossing, the face is finished. So let's move over to the outfit, which I pattern as always by wrapping the body in cling film and covering that in tape. Then I draw on all the shapes and seams and then cut them off the body. Once I've got all those pieces, I transfer them onto paper. Then I start preparing the fabric by ironing on some fusible film. After transferring the patterns onto that, I cut them out. On top of that, I layer some chiffon fabric and iron that on to connect the two materials. I also add some glittery vinyl details on top of that, as well as on separate chiffon pieces, and iron all of that on. Then I cut out the pieces again, leaving some chiffon excess, which I fold over for a clean edge. I do that all around. I also prepare these banana-shaped pieces and layer them on top of each other. Then I cut the inside piece of the corresponding shape on the skirt out and glue the prepared layers inside. I do the same on the other piece. Then I take the side panels and sew in a dart. After which I connect all the pieces at the side. I also glue on some ribbon to decorate the bottom hem, as well as sewing on a beaded string onto the two-tone part. Then I take the petals that I'd prepared and cut those out and seal them with Mod Podge. Once those are dry, I just glue them all around the bottom hem. Then I sew the back and add a closure, and the skirt is done as well. I've already cut out the pieces for the top and just sew those together. I again fold over all the chiffon edges. Then I take the 3 top petals I had already cut out and sew in a dart on the side pieces. After which I can just glue them on and fold over the bottoms. Then I glue on the bottom petals. I also added some gemstones on the bottom here, which I'm actually going to change later off cam, but after putting closure in the back, the top is done for now. Now, the gloves. On the official dolls, you either get a fabric glove that doesn't cover the hands, or the full glove but painted on. But I wanted a fabric glove that also covered the hand without looking like a mitten, and I actually figured out a way to do that. Basically, I take some fine mesh fabric and iron on a curved vinyl line to seal it. Then I cut out the glove shape and sew that up good sides together until the wrist. And turn it inside out. Then I shove that onto the arm. I printed this 2-part mold block of the hand, and I will use it by covering the hands in glue, then stretching the mesh on top, and squeezing that in between the blocks. This actually works better if you add some cling film between the fabric and the blocks. Once I take that out, I cut around the edges as close as I can. Then add some more glue to the edges and pressing again. After letting that dry a bit, I can cut the excess even closer to the hand. I clean up the glue residue with some acetone, and that's the gloves finished. I'm actually really happy with this technique because it looks pretty seamless. And now on to the accessories, which I printed in clear colored resin. Now I just add some paint detailing. And cover some parts in pearlescent glaze. To make her choker, I take a piece of ribbon, sew some string onto the dust bottle, and glue them together. I install the shoes spiral thingies by gluing the bottom part onto the feet and threading the top part onto the lower leg. Then I hook the feet back on, and that's done as well. Everything is technically done, except when Aisha gets her ENCHANTIX, she is still blind, so I thought it'd be interesting to make her another faceplate to represent that. Obviously, I do a lot of the same things here in terms of makeup, so I'm just gonna kind of speed through this. But what I did different on this one, apart from the blinded eyes, is I gave her a side glance, as well as a more worried-ish expression. I actually did this face first because I knew it wasn't going to be your main one, and that allowed me to experiment a bit with colors and techniques. In addition to the extra face, I originally wanted to do the green ENCHANTIX outfit as well, but this project was already taking so long that I just didn't want to make another outfit and just settled on the blue one because that's the one I prefer personally. Now that this face is done, here's the final doll. This was probably my most challenging project to date. Then again, I feel like that most of the time about my most recent one. But I am quite happy with her. I'm actually particularly proud of the gloves, because it's something I haven't really seen anyone else do. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about her. I am going to continue making the ENCHANTIX dolls in sequence of the show, so it's pretty easy to figure out who's next. There might be another video before that though, because ENCHANTIX is just very detailed, so it takes a lot of time. But either way, thank you so much for watching and staying till the end. I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe if you haven't yet. And that's all from me. See you next time.